Oops, that's fine. Hi everyone. So for today's presentation, we're conducting data analytics for the marketing department of a global supermarket chain. Now, naturally, one of the first priorities for a marketing department is to understand their customers, and thus the majority of what we'll be doing today is understanding our customer base and then identifying whom the supermarket appeals to. Through such an understanding, we can tailor our marketing efforts to better suit our customer needs. However, knowing our customers is only half the equation. We need to take our knowledge of our customers and then determine which specific variables influences our sales. So, for example, if most of our customers purchase goods online, then it would benefit the company to offer deals or make marketing advertisements on the company's website. Now, keep in mind that what I just said is purely an example. By following these two steps, we can avoid wasting resources on demographics that provide little return and invest in the correct demographics that help to grow our bottom line. With that said, let's get started. First, let's provide a key overview of actionable insights that we need to do based on our data. First, 40% of our customers are married, while 25% are together, meaning that they live together as a couple. Since they compose such a huge portion of our customer base, we should cater our marketing efforts, such as advertisement, towards these groups or towards couples. Additionally, while widows only compose 3% of our customer base, they purchase 150 more goods on average than the rest, and thus marketing efforts should be done for widows as well. Furthermore, our data shows that catalog purchases had the strongest relationship in total amounts sold. Online purchases also had a strong relationship, but not to the same degree as catalog purchases. And thus, catalog purchases should have the priority in marketing efforts first, followed by online purchases. Wines comprised 50% of our total products sold, which was nearly twice that of meats, which were 27%. Now, due to the dominance of these two products, extensive marketing efforts should only be done for them and not for the other products. Geographically, Spain represented 49% of our customer base, whereas Saudi Arabia represented 15%, while Canada represented 12%. Thus, any extensive marketing campaigns should be done specifically in these countries due to the established popularity and the presence that we have there. Now let's do a quick overview of our supermarket's products. Now, for context, the numbers here shows the amount sold over a 2-year period. From the chart, we can quickly see that wines are clearly the store's top product, and in fact, they comprise a total of 50% of goods sold. Meats, however, are not to be underestimated, as they comprise over 1/4 of the total goods sold, specifically 27%. Now, since both wines and meats comprise such a huge portion of our products sold, marketing efforts should be specifically geared to these two products only. The other products, while not clearly as high as either meats or wines, had naturally lower sales as they are substitute goods, meaning that other products, such as goods sold in other stores, can easily act as replacement for the goods sold in our own stores. Now, due to both their substituted nature of the other goods and their comparatively lower sales, it would be more ideally to focus our marketing efforts on both wines and meats. Now let's examine the age demographic of our customers. We see from the graph that most of our customers are within the 40 to 70 age range, with the majority of customers being in their 50s. In fact, the 40 to 70 age range comprises 80% of our total customers. Now, since the 40 to 70 age range comprises such an overwhelming amount, marketing efforts should be undoubtedly geared to this specific group. Further, Our age demographic is very consistent with our products sold because middle-aged people often prefer wines, while younger demographic prefers beers or hard liquor. In other words, there is a synergy that exists between our age demographic and our products sold, and thus our advertisements and marketing campaigns should foster this synergy in order to reap the most benefits. Now we look at the geographic distribution of our customers. Based on the map, we see that the majority of our customers are in Spain, which comprises a total of 48.9% of our customer base. Our second highest customer base is in Saudi Arabia, which comprises 15%, while Canada had a respectable 12%. Thus, since these three countries represent a specific portion of our customer base, any particularly extensive marketing campaign performed by the company should be limited to these three countries, specifically due to our limitations of resources and manpower. Now, there is an important caveat to keep in mind, and that's even though wine, as we saw, is clearly our top product, the sale of alcohol is illegal in Saudi Arabia, and thus there should never be any sort of advertisements of our wines in that country. Otherwise, there'd be serious repercussions. PR nightmare, basically. In saying that, the marketing department should continue to be sensitive to all countries' cultural difference wherever they operate, even beyond the three countries that I mentioned. So while we're not going to do extensive marketing campaigns in other countries, there'll be small ads on on the internet or whatever. You could do small ones, just not extensive ones. Now let's examine the marital status of our demographic. Easily, that orange circle clearly demonstrates that the most of our customers are married, as they comprise 40% of our customer base. The together category itself is actually very respectable. It's about 25% of our customer share, and thus it would behoove the company to issue sales like during Valentine's Days, or present discounts or product offerings that specifically cater to couples. So like wine, a special wine discount on Valentine's Day or something like that. Now, for clarification, the together category, it means that people are living like a couple, like boyfriend and girlfriend, but they aren't legally married. They don't have the legal status of married. Now, as we enter to the analytical proportion of our presentation. As we saw in the marital demographic slide, the widow customer base bought lower goods in total since they comprise the smallest segment of our customer base. So we see it here, or I think, yeah. So again, the widows, which is this green circle, is the smallest out of all of them. But even though it's the smallest customer base, on average, they produce a greater amount of goods compared to the rest of the customers. So in particular, they bought 150 more goods on average compared to everyone else. And thus, even though they're a small size, it would be foolish to completely dismiss them altogether, because yes, they're buying a greater amount of goods on average. By gearing more toward widows, more advertisements, we can hopefully encourage more widows to keep shopping at our stores and then benefit more from their above average spending, as we want to reap in the enhancements to our bottom line that they present. For our final slide, we look at purchase mediums, such as purchasing online or brick and mortar. Here we perform our regression analysis, where we assess how strong the relationship is between a purchase medium and the total amount of purchase. So again, regression, for those of you who don't know, it shows how how strong two variables are related. So for this specific chart, how good something is on one axis compared how it relates to something on another axis. That's basically what regression is. Now, the more linear the line is, and the steeper its slope, the more effective that medium is at generating sales. Now, just for context, none of the visuals here are perfectly linear, meaning that because there's some degree of noise or outliers that prevent it from being a perfect relationship. However, from the visuals, we see that the catalog on that catalogs the leftmost chart is clearly the best medium for generating sales due to the steepness of the slope and this relatively linear shape or linear relationship that it has with total products sold. On the other hand, the graph on the right for store purchases, i.e., brick and mortar, it's all over the place, right? It's very messy, and so that indicates that it has a very weak relationship with total products sold. Web purchases is in the middle, meaning that it's not as good as catalog purchases, but yes, there is a certain degree of relationship with buying online and selling more goods. Hence, if there is one purchase medium that we should focus on, it would definitely be catalogs, though web purchases would be a second. Now, the fact that catalog purchases remains as the most lucrative a purchase medium, is consistent with our age and marital demographic again. Although certainly not the case with the entire demographic, widows are often at the extreme end of the age spectrum, and thus they can struggle with technology or physically walking to the store, and thus they would feel more comfortable with catalogs rather than, again, online purchases or walking to the store. With that said, is there any questions?